John Lennon, the poet of the Beatles. He had a ticket to ride. So, what did he ride in? Well, this 1979 Mercedes station wagon. It was the car that shuttled Lennon around for the last years of his life. The car that carried him on the last few miles of his long and winding road. Born in 1940, John Lennon was a native of Liverpool, England. After the Beatles broke up in 1970, Lennon and his second wife, Yoko Ono, moved across the Atlantic to New York City, where they quickly became two of the city's best-known celebrity residents. Then, in 1976, Lennon retreated from the music scene and the public eye to live a more secluded life. He became, in his own words, a house husband. But even house husbands have to run errands. So the Lennons kept an old Chrysler on hand for short jaunts. Not that John actually drove the thing. That was the job of their driver. And in 1979, he told Yoko that the 1972 Chrysler had reached the end of its road.
And he said to Yoko, like, the Chrysler station wagon is not going to make it. It's too old and it's too beaten up.
Yoko agreed to buy a new car. She flipped through a Mercedes catalog and picked out a station wagon. But there was a hitch. The company wasn't yet ready to ship any to the U.S.
Because it was for John Lennon and Yoko Ono, I'm sure that they did handsprings. Mercedes US got a hold of Germany. They had to go to a dealer in Stuttgart, bring it in, get it ready for the American market, and then they shipped it.
The Lennon car was the first Mercedes station wagon not only in New York, but in all of North America. The price tag came to a whopping $30,000, about the same as a Porsche 928 sold for in 1979. The car had a diesel engine and came loaded with accessories: climate control, electric windows, a sunroof, large speakers, and a top-of-the-line Blaupunkt stereo. But for a man who once rode around in a psychedelic Rolls-Royce, this was a real departure.
It's not the kind of car one would associate with him until you realize he wasn't a car nut. It has fairly hard seats. I don't know that I would want to spend a lot of time driving around in it.
In 1980, when the couple ended their 4-year hiatus from recording, the Mercedes wagon ferried John's guitars to and from the studio where they recorded their album, Double Fantasy. But John Lennon's comeback was short-lived. On December 8, 1980, Lennon was murdered by a deranged fan named Mark David Chapman. After Lennon's death, Yoko kept the car, but only for others to run errands in. Then, in 1986, she put it up for sale at Sotheby's auction house along with other John Lennon memorabilia. The station wagon was purchased for $20,900 by Wallace C. Yost. It turned up again at a sale in 1996. This time it went to Jimmy Velvet's collection of legend cars of the stars for $36,000. From there, it was sold to a group of anonymous Canadian investors for a reported $60,000.
They were convinced that it would sell for a whole bunch of money. The car isn't an automotive enthusiast car. The car is a Beatles collector's car. So, I mean, at an automotive auction, it's just not going to find its right market. So it didn't sell.
When one of the owners asked David Granger to put the Mercedes in his showroom of classic automobiles in Bradford, Ontario, he initially declined. A 1979 station wagon was not exactly the kind of classic car he was used to dealing with. Still, fans do have an emotional response to the car.
On many, many occasions have been asked if somebody could sit in it, and they're so excited, you know, sort of, okay, well, come on, over the rope and, you know, sit the minute for a minute. And it's just amazing. People just glow. I have to admit, I'm pretty jaded when it comes to cars, but at the end of the day, the staff had left and everything, and it was quiet. I looked at the car and I went, no, I have to do this. So I walked over, got in, it was powerful in its own way.
John Lennon's 1979 Mercedes station wagon is on occasional public display at the Guild of Automotive Restorers in Bradford, Ontario, Canada.